Rain hits the tin roof like small apologies. Daniel stopped believing in. He works alone in the dim light of his workshop, hands steady, heart frayed, surrounded by half-mended boats and half-lived memories. Every sound outside feels like it could be her voice, but it never is. 7 years since she said those words, cold, final, carved deep. "I never want to see you again." He told himself he accepted it, yet each night he still listens for what he swore he didn't need. What would you say to someone who stopped waiting for you? The storm grows heavier, and through the sound of the waves, there it is. A soft, uncertain knock. He freezes. His breath catches. For the first time in years, Daniel doesn't know whether to hope or hide. He doesn't move at first. Maybe the sound was the wind. Maybe it was his mind, playing one more cruel trick. But it comes again, faint, patient, certain. The room feels smaller now, the air dense with memory. Every nerve inside him knows who it is before he even opens the door. The past has a sound, and it's this. 3 soft knocks in the rain. He stands, every step toward the door heavier than the last. His breath shakes as he reaches the handle. 7 years of silence, and now this. Outside, a shadow waits beneath the porch light. Somewhere between fear and longing, Daniel's hand stops just short of turning the knob. The door creaks open just an inch, letting in cold air and the smell of salt. Through the blur of rain, a figure stands motionless. He knows that stance, the same defiant stillness that once ended everything. The sight of her is a mirror to all the years he wasted waiting for something he swore he didn't want. Time folds in on itself. She doesn't speak. Neither does he. Only the rain does, whispering everything they never said. She says his name once, softly, like testing if it still means something. It cuts through him sharper than anger ever did. Her voice trembles, but her jaw is set. She isn't here for forgiveness. She's here because life cornered her into it. The words stumble out, about their mother, about time, about needing help. He nods before she can finish. He doesn't need reasons. The door opens wider, and the storm enters with her. For a long moment, neither speaks. The rain eases, leaving only the sound of their breathing. Daniel pours 2 cups of tea, his hands trembling slightly. She accepts hers without thanks. When she finally looks at him, it's not hate anymore. It's something quieter, almost tired. She doesn't have much time, she says. The room seems to inhale. He nods, barely audible. The silence between them has waited years for this one truth. They are all running out of time. The road back home feels longer than the 7 years that kept them apart. Neither speaks. The hum of the engine fills the space where apologies should live. Rain clings to the windshield, blurring the world into gray streaks, as if mercy itself is hesitant to appear. Claire stares out the window, her reflection a younger woman's ghost staring back. Daniel grips the wheel too tightly, afraid silence will shatter into truth. Every turn brings them closer to what they ran from, one out of guilt, the other out of pride. Sometimes distance isn't measured in miles, but in words that were never taken back. They pull into the old gravel driveway, the one that used to echo with childhood summers and slammed doors. The house stands the same, only smaller now, as if time has been slowly taking pieces of it. Daniel hesitates before stepping out. Claire moves ahead without waiting. The porch creaks under her weight, each step a memory testing its strength. Inside, the faint sound of piano keys drifts from the living room. Their mother's song, halting, fragile. For a moment, both stop breathing. The past is playing its tune again. The moment Daniel steps inside, the scent of the house hits him. Salt, old books, and the faint sweetness of tea. Evelyn looks up from the piano, eyes widening. For a second, she doesn't move, afraid this vision will vanish if she breathes. Then, her trembling hand reaches out. "You came," she whispers. The years melt in her voice. Daniel nods, unable to speak. Claire watches, torn between tenderness and restraint. There are 3 people in this room, yet it feels like a lifetime of ghosts are standing with them. They sit around the small kitchen table, the same one where their father once told stories that made them laugh until milk spilled from their noses. Now the air is thick with things unsaid. Evelyn's voice quivers as she explains her illness, but she smiles as though it's simply another storm to weather. Claire stirs her tea endlessly, never drinking. Daniel watches both women, feeling like an intruder in a life he abandoned. The kettle whistles. No one moves to stop it. Sometimes sound is the only thing keeping a moment alive. That night, Daniel can't sleep. The house creaks like it's remembering every word once shouted between these walls. He stands in the hallway, staring at family photos. Him and Claire as kids, Evelyn laughing beside them. A world that no longer exists. From the next room, Claire's soft crying reaches him through the thin walls. He doesn't knock, he just listens, palms pressed against the old wood. Some doors aren't meant to be opened yet. Some love must be learned again, in silence. Morning brings the sound of gulls and the smell of coffee. Simple reminders that life still moves even when hearts are stuck in yesterday. Daniel stands by the kitchen window watching the waves, hands wrapped around a chipped mug. Lily's voice drifts from the living room, soft, curious, humming an old tune. It's the same melody their mother used to play when they were children. The notes carry through the house like sunlight after years of rain. For the first time, Daniel doesn't flinch at the sound of family. Lily finds him outside by the old fishing dock, where boards creak beneath their steps like whispers from the past. She asks simple questions about boats, storms, the sea. He answers awkwardly at first, but her laughter loosens him. When she sketches his hands, rough and scarred, he feels something stir that he thought he'd lost. Gentleness. Claire watches from the window, her expression unreadable, caught between pride and unease. That evening, they unpack old photo albums in the living room. Dust lifts into the warm lamplight like ghosts too gentle to haunt. Evelyn smiles faintly at the images. Children in muddy clothes, birthdays and summers that never seem to end. Daniel laughs quietly at a picture of his younger self. The sound startles everyone, even him. Claire looks at him across the table. For a fleeting moment, her eyes soften, and the years between them collapse into one heartbeat. Then she looks away. Some tenderness still hurts to touch. Later that night, Claire finds Daniel in the garage, repairing one of their father's old fishing rods. She tells him Lily likes him, that she's never seen her daughter so curious about anyone. The words come out sharper than intended, more confession than complaint. He nods without looking up. She reminds me of you, he says. Silence fills the space between them again, but this time it's not hostile. It's heavy, yes, but honest. When the house falls quiet, Evelyn calls Daniel into her room. Her voice is thin but steady. She tells him something he's never known. That she was the one who asked him to leave after the fight years ago, believing it would protect Claire. The truth lands like a slow heartbreak. All this time he carried a guilt that wasn't fully his. Tears well but don't fall. She never needed protecting, he whispers. Evelyn smiles faintly. No, she says, but I did. Morning light feels sharp, almost cruel after a sleepless night. Daniel sits at the table, eyes hollow. Evelyn's words still echoing in his mind. Every sound in the house seems louder. Claire's footsteps, the clinking of dishes, Lily's quiet humming from upstairs. When Claire enters the room, their eyes meet and something shifts. He wants to tell her what he's learned, but guilt knots his throat. The truth has a weight that love can't easily carry. Sometimes silence feels safer than forgiveness. By afternoon, the storm outside mirrors the one within. Claire finds Daniel in the living room, packing tools. She asks why he came back after all this time. The question is too sharp, but it's not cruelty, it's fear. He answers with honesty he never meant to share. Because I thought she hated me less than you did." The silence that follows is deafening. Claire's face hardens. Old pain floods back, raw and unfiltered. "You left," she says. "You always leave." And the storm outside answers for him. Their argument grows louder, years collapsing into minutes. Every word they never said finds its way out now. About their father's death, about Evelyn's choices, about who abandoned whom. Lily stands at the top of the stairs, unseen, clutching the railing. Down below, voices echo through the old house like thunder. Daniel's voice cracks as he admits he never stopped writing letters that Claire never received. Claire freezes, realization dawning, guilt colliding with grief. The house trembles as wind slams against the walls, or maybe that's just the weight of their truth. Evelyn calls out from her room, weak, but sharp enough to cut through their noise. The siblings freeze. In a heartbeat, Claire rushes to her, Daniel close behind. Evelyn lies pale, her breathing uneven, hand clutching her chest. The storm outside howls louder, a cruel mirror of their timing. "No more fighting," she whispers, her voice trembling like candlelight. They kneel on either side of her, faces wet. Not from the rain this time. The truth may have broken them, but her fragility binds them again, if only for a moment. The paramedics arrive, red and blue lights flickering against the walls. Daniel stands outside in the rain as they carry Evelyn toward the ambulance. Claire stays beside her, holding her mother's hand until the doors close. The sirens fade into the storm, leaving behind a hollow quiet. Daniel looks up at the sky. Soaked, shaking, his jaw tight, and for the first time, he lets himself cry where anyone could see. Inside the house, a single candle on the kitchen table flickers out. Hospitals always smell of endings, even when you pretend they don't. Daniel sits in a cold hallway, fingers tapping his knee, the sound small against the hum of machines. Claire leans against the wall beside him, her arms folded, eyes red but dry. They haven't spoken since the night of the storm. In front of them, a closed door. Their mother on the other side, fighting quietly. It's strange how silence between two people can feel louder than grief itself. Neither of them looks up when a nurse walks past. They just sit there, side by side, waiting for something neither is ready to lose. Evelyn wakes briefly, fragile but smiling. Her voice is barely a whisper, but it carries the weight of decades. She thanks them for coming home. Daniel takes her hand, his thumb tracing the lines of her veins. Claire sits on the other side, silent, eyes full of unshed tears. Evelyn tells them they remind her of the sea, always fighting, always returning. When she coughs, they both reach for her at once, their hands meeting across her blanket. For the first time, they don't pull away. Later, Claire and Daniel sit in the hospital cafeteria, untouched cups of coffee cooling between them. The storm between them feels different now, quiet, almost spent. "I found your letters," Claire finally says. Her voice cracks, but she doesn't look up. Daniel blinks, breath caught. "I thought you burned them." She shakes her head. "I read every one." The words hang there, heavy, honest, unfixable, but free. Between them, a small understanding begins to grow. Not forgiveness yet, but its fragile shadow. Night falls. Evelyn's breathing grows slower, steadier, almost peaceful. Daniel sits on one side of the bed, Claire on the other, Lily between them, her small hand holding her grandmother's. Evelyn smiles at the sight. Her family finally gathered, if only for this moment. Her last words are soft but certain. "Promise me you'll stay close. Don't let silence win again." The three of them nod through tears, their hands joined. A long pause, then a slow exhale, one that doesn't return. The monitors hum quietly into stillness. After it's over, the night outside feels impossibly quiet. Daniel steps out of the hospital first, breathing in the cold air as though learning how to exist again. Claire follows, wrapping her coat around her shoulders. They don't speak. They just stand there under the flickering streetlight, letting the silence between them mean something new. Not distance this time. Remembrance. He looks at her, and she nods faintly. The fight is gone. Only love remains, fragile but alive, like a small flame refusing to die in the wind. The house feels different without Evelyn's voice, like the sea when the tide pulls back, still vast, but emptier. Daniel stands in the living room surrounded by boxes from the hospital, the hum of silence filling every corner. Claire moves softly behind him, sorting through old letters and folded linens. Neither speaks. It's not avoidance anymore, it's reverence. The air smells of dust and tea and fading flowers from the funeral. Sometimes the hardest part of love isn't saying goodbye, it's learning how to stay after. Outside, Daniel repairs the broken fence that lines the yard. The same one he helped their father build decades ago. The rhythm of hammering fills the afternoon. Steady, deliberate, almost peaceful. Claire paints the porch rail, her brush strokes careful, quiet. Lily sits on the steps sketching them, the three of them framed together for the first time without tension. No grand apologies, no perfect words, just shared effort. Sometimes mending wood feels easier than mending hearts, but the sound is the same. Rebuilding. Later, Daniel finds an old box of Evelyn's belongings, sheet music, postcards, and a faded letter addressed to both of them. Inside, their mother's handwriting trembles but clear. If love can break, it can rebuild, but only if you let it. He shows it to Claire without speaking. She reads it slowly, eyes filling, and then smiles. A small, tired smile that feels like sunrise after endless gray. No one says it, but they both know. She's still here, in the music, the walls, the silence that no longer hurts. That evening, the three of them cook dinner together. Nothing fancy, just warmth. Lily laughs as Daniel burns the bread. Claire teases him. Light and easy for once. The house fills with the sound of clinking plates and small laughter, the kind of music that used to belong to someone else, but now belongs to them. They set 3 places, then add a 4th, leaving it empty. Not out of sadness, but gratitude. When night falls, Daniel steps outside to the porch. The sea breathes in the distance, steady and alive. Claire joins him, holding 2 cups of tea. They stand shoulder to shoulder, watching the horizon fade into the dark. No words. They don't need them. The silence now feels full, no longer waiting for something to break it. Claire leans slightly against him, just enough to say everything that still matters. And for the first time in years, Daniel lets himself believe in peace. Months pass. The seasons shift from gray to green, and the house by the sea begins to feel alive again. Daniel's days are filled with small things. Fixing nets, painting shutters, drinking morning coffee on the porch where silence used to hurt. Every so often he looks toward town, where Claire and Lily now live. He tells himself he'll visit soon, but the words never make it to action. It's easier to mend boats than bridges, until one morning, he realizes the sea sounds quieter without her laughter. He drives into town that afternoon, not because something's wrong, but because something's right. He finally feels ready. The roads look different now, softer somehow, the same way memory fades into peace. Passing the grocery store and the church steps where they once argued, he smiles faintly. The world hasn't changed. He has. By the time he reaches Claire's house, the sun is setting, painting the sky with colors too gentle for regret. Claire is in the kitchen when she hears it. 3 soft knocks. The same rhythm she once gave him years ago in the rain. Her breath catches. She looks toward the door, tea still steaming in her hand. Lily peers from the stairs, sensing something in her mother's stillness. Claire hesitates, just long enough for the moment to stretch, then walks slowly toward the sound. The years that once stood between them collapse into footsteps. When the door opens, Daniel stands there with rain on his jacket and the wooden box in his hands. Inside, their mother's favorite sheet music, carefully restored. No grand speeches, just a soft, nervous smile. Claire stares at him for a long moment, then steps aside. He crosses the threshold slowly, as if afraid the floor might remember their fight. Lily hugs him first. Claire's eyes glisten, her lips trembling between a smile and a sob. She closes the door behind him, not to shut him out this time, but to keep him in. Later, they walk together to the shore where Evelyn's ashes were scattered. The sea glows under the fading sunset. Endless, calm, eternal. Daniel opens the wooden box and sets the sheet music free, the pages fluttering into the wind. Claire takes his hand, her touch steady. Lily hums softly, the same tune their mother once played. It's not an ending, it's the sound of coming home. And for the first time, Daniel realizes forgiveness isn't given. It's lived, one knock, one wordless moment at a time.